Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and we're gonna do this Q&A a little bit differently. There were a lot of people who asked the same question, or at least very similar questions that I felt like I could answer with one answer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put all of those questions at the beginning of the video, and leave all the people who asked those questions at the bottom of the screen, and then I'm gonna move on to the rest of the questions as normal. So if you look for your section of the video and realize that not all of your questions are there, it's probably because one or two of them ended up at the beginning of the video. Either that or you asked more than 3 questions, and I only chose to answer 3. But regardless, that's enough introduction. Without further ado, here it is, the Rappter Q&A number 22. I hope you guys enjoy. What do you think about Death Battle Season 8 so far? How would you rate it from 1 to 10? What's your favorite episode? How would you rank the episodes? Are you going to be making a video on this once Death Battle takes a break? So many Season 8 questions. I think Season 8 is really good right now. I'm really pleased with it. I would probably give it around a 9 out of 10. My favorite one so far is Yoda versus King Mickey, and I do not really want to rank them yet because I'm going to be making a video on that once Death Battle takes a break. So yeah, those are all your answers. Are you making money off of YouTube? How much money would you have to make in order to quit YouTube? Yes, I do make money off of YouTube. I have been doing so since around April 2020, so just over a year, and I don't make enough money to sustain any part of my life, so the whole amount of money that I make isn't really a factor of whether or not I would quit. If I were to quit YouTube, it would just be because I run out of time and I don't have enough time to do it. Have you ever looked back on any Who, When, and Why episodes and realized that your opinion has changed now? Have you ever considered redoing an episode because of that, or because you simply want to make it better? Yes, there are certainly Who, When, and Why episodes where my opinion has changed a bit, whether it's because I learn about new information or I use new methodologies for analyzing characters, etc, etc. In terms of redoing episodes, I may do that every once in a while if I think there's a high enough demand for it, but I don't think that would be a regular thing that I would do on the channel. What Death Battle episode are you most looking forward to? If we're talking about all of the episodes that have ever been confirmed for the show, then I would say Galactus versus Unicron. But if we're just talking about the teased combatants for Season 8 and who's left, then I would say Link versus Cloud 2. What Death Battle idea did you used to like but you don't like it anymore? The fight that comes to mind right now is Mewtwo versus Silver. I remember really liking this fight when I was a kid just because I really liked both of the characters, but nowadays I don't really think it's that necessary and I don't think it's that great of a fight. If you like it, then that's great. I personally just don't like it as much as I did when I was a kid. What character or franchise would you like to see come back to Death Battle? In terms of the character, I would say Natsu, just because I really like the character. I'd like to see him come back. And in terms of the franchise, I would either say My Hero Academia or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because I'd like to see more representation from them. Can you do blank for Who, When, and Why or Bad Battle? I get a lot of suggestions for both of these shows, and trust me, I do see the suggestions, but my answer to this question is always just going to be the same. Thank you for your idea, and I will be sure to consider it. I don't want to confirm whether or not I'm doing anything because that just takes the fun out of it, right? So again, thank you for all your ideas. I will be sure to consider them. Okay, those were all the questions that were asked by multiple people. Now we get to the rest of the questions, and we're going to be blazing through them, so buckle up. Who were the contestants that you think are going to be last for Season 8? My guess and my hope would be Galactus versus Unicron. It just seems like the perfect ending to the 10-year anniversary season, but that's just me. What are you currently studying in school? Right now I'm studying media production. I'm going into my 3rd year of university in the fall, and I'm focusing mostly on audio and writing. What is a matchup that is really obscure but you really like? For me, that would be Inigo Montoya from Princess Bride versus Puss in Boots from Shrek. They actually have a decent amount of connections, and I think it would just be a hilarious fight to see. What do you think of Blaziken versus Sanji and Slenderman versus Freddy Krueger as matchups? I think those matchups are perfectly fine. They're probably not my favorite in the world, and the characters may have better opponents, I'm not really sure, but still, as matchups, I think they work okay. What horror movie death battle would you like to see? I'm not super into horror movies, so I'm really only into what everybody else is into and what's popular, so for me the big one would be Jason versus Michael. Who would you have Alucard from Hellsing fight besides Dio? I would probably say Alucard from Castlevania. No, I'm kidding. I don't really know who I would choose because I really like Dio versus Alucard, and I don't know who would make a really good opponent for Alucard. So yeah, I really don't know. I just really want to see Dio versus Alucard is what I'm saying. What's a death battle idea you would like to see but a lot of people don't like? I think this idea is more mixed with the community rather than absolutely hated, but I would say Silver Surfer versus Martian Manhunter. I think it's a really cool fight. I personally like it a lot, and I would love to see Death Battle do it, but I can understand why some people would not want to see them do it. Who is one character that no one really knows but is OP? The main character I can think of right now is Rumor from the Umbrella Academy comics, because she's literally just able to say anything, and what she says becomes reality. There is practically no limit on it. One of the other team members even says that her powers borders on the omnipotence. So yeah, it's really overpowered, but no one really knows about her. If you were to rewatch a season of Death Battle, which would it be? For me, Season 2, Season 5, and Season 6 have the most rewatchability factor. That's just my opinion anyway. If I were to choose one, it would probably be Season 5. Season 5 right now is my favorite season. Who is your favorite real-life Death Battle cast member? Honestly, I would probably just say Ben Singer. I think he's a really chill and fun funny guy in real life. I just like watching him on the cast and everything, so yeah, I would say Ben. Do you like the Predator? I am not too into the Predator. He's not my favorite character in the world, but I don't dislike him or anything. I think he's okay. This is probably going to piss some people off, but I would probably say Leonardo versus Red Ranger Jason. I'm not saying it's a bad episode, I'm not saying that at all. I just don't think it's as well put together as some people say it is. What do you think of Cronk versus Dareth as a matchup? I have actually never heard of that one before, but assuming that the fight is relatively even, then yeah, I think it could be pretty fun. If you had your own Death Battle soundtrack, what fight would you want it to be for? I would probably say Stitch versus Rocket Raccoon. I think you could probably get a really cool, technological, energy-like feel to it. I think it would just be a really awesome soundtrack if it was done right. Steven Universe versus KO. That one for me is very tough because I don't know that much about the characters. My gut is telling me Steven, but I could be completely wrong, so take what I say with a grain of salt. Why are you so cool? Just because no one else will be. Plus, I have hypothermia. What death battle would you like to see as a hand-drawn fight? Honestly, I would probably say Stitch versus Rocket Raccoon. I think it would make for some really interesting and funny visuals. It's just something I would really like to see. Has Death Battle ever gotten you into any franchises featured? The big one that Death Battle got me into was RWBY. I have gotten into some other things because of Death Battle, such as Devil May Cry and Metal Gear, but never to the same extent as RWBY. What episode of DBX would you like to see as a death battle? Other than Dio versus Alucard, I would probably say Kratos versus Dante, but that's just my opinion. Ghost Rider versus Spawn. Both of the characters are incredibly powerful, but honestly, once Zarathos gets into the mix, there's really not too much that Spawn can do against that, so I would say Ghost Rider. Composite Kratos versus Composite Dante. I know that God of War has done some crazy things lately, so I'm inclined to say Kratos, but maybe Dante actually has something that puts him further ahead. I don't know. Man-Thing versus Swamp Thing. This is one that I would love to do more research on and get a concrete answer for myself. Right now, I would probably say Swamp Thing because I think his powers are just on a greater level, but I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong. I would love to do more research on it. What is your favorite DBX? Probably Ronald McDonald versus Colonel Sanders. I don't have to explain myself. Do you spam foot dive every time you play Doctor Doom? If you don't spam foot dive, then you're not a real gamer. And beneath me. Green Lantern versus Nova. From my knowledge of the characters, Green Lantern should have the power, defenses, and abilities needed to take down Nova, especially if we're looking at the Hal Jordan version. Do you prefer Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter? In general, I've just been more interested in the story and the characters in Mortal Kombat, which is a little weird because I own more Street Fighter games. What are your favorite fast food restaurants? There are a lot of fast food restaurants that I like, probably too many, but of all of those, my go-to favorites are McDonald's and Subway. What Mortal Kombat matchup would you like to see happen on Death Battle? As of right now, I would probably say Liu Kang versus Jago. I think it has the potential to be at least a pretty decent episode. Which do you prefer, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, or PC? Of the four, I definitely prefer Nintendo and PlayStation, but I would probably put Nintendo above just because it's the only one I'm using right now. Why are you running? Why are you running? I don't know. Why are you gay? Do you like Minecraft, and if so, do you like the Shady Oaks SMP? I do not play Minecraft at all, so I would not be able to tell you if I like it, but I'm assuming that you do, so good on you. What do you think is the funniest kill shot in Death Battle? I know everybody loves to hate this episode, but I would honestly say Mewtwo versus Shadow. I mean, come on, having someone lose their memories mid-fight, asking why am I glowing, and then getting impaled by a spoon? Like, that's funny no matter where it is. Which character outside of Marvel do you think is worthy of wielding Mjolnir? Right now, I would say Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's definitely not a perfect fit, but she's the best fit that I could think of off the top of my head. Have you ever played Streets of Rage? No, I have not, unfortunately, but I'm sure it's very fun and I'm sure you enjoy playing it, so cool. Who would win between Kirby and classic Mega Man, and do you think that's a good matchup? I definitely think that Kirby would be the winner of the fight, and while I don't think the fight idea is bad, I think it might be more fair to put Kirby up against a different version of Mega Man, but that's just me. Do you think that Meta Knight will fight Zero in Death Battle because he didn't fight Yoda? I definitely think that that's a possibility. In fact, I think it's probably pretty likely, but I also don't think that it would happen for a while. I think it will happen, but later down the line. That would be my prediction. Is there a matchup that you used to hate? I wouldn't say that I hated this one, but I didn't really like the idea of Frieza versus Megatron because I didn't know how powerful Megatron was. I didn't know the exact capabilities of either of the characters, etc, etc. So I didn't really like it that much. Now that I have more information, I wouldn't say that I love it, but I definitely like it a lot more. You really think you can outrun moi? I'm the fastest man alive. Oh yeah, cherry flavored chump? I'm the fastest thing alive. Well, what does reality include? Reality includes time. You're welcome for the tip. Which is better, Obi-Wan's high ground or Solid Snake's cardboard box? Now, I personally always use both, but at the end of the day, a cardboard box is only made of paper, whereas the high ground is always the right answer. Deadpool versus Dante. I have to imagine that somewhere in Dante's arsenal, he has something capable of putting down Deadpool. I'm not saying that it would be easy for him to do, but I think that he could do it. Batman Beyond versus the Sam Wilson Captain America. I think that Batman Beyond probably has more advantages going for him, but that's not to say that Sam Wilson wouldn't put up one heck of a fight, because I think he would. What movie do you think was the worst live-action adaptation ever? Because of everything it does wrong, I have to go with The Last Airbender movie. However, a very close second would be Dragon Ball Evolution. Are there any death battle results that you disagree with? There are a number of outcomes that I disagree with. The big one, of course, for me is Rogue versus Wonder Woman. However, I probably also disagree with Carnage versus Lucy, and maybe Hulk versus Broly, but that one is like a huge can of worms that I do not want to open right now, so we're not even going to talk about that one. What's a franchise that you want to see on Death Battle that hasn't been used before? For me, it would either be the Umbrella Academy or Star Trek. I say Star Trek because it's probably more likely, but in general, I want to see the Umbrella Academy come on the show the most. Do you think Yang versus Tifa was right? Based on what I know about the characters, probably not. But that's not one I get too butthurt over anyway, so it doesn't matter too much to me. Do you think Nightmare versus Guts is right? That is one that I really could not tell you because I still don't know that much about Guts or Nightmare, so I'm just gonna say maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, I'm not really sure. Do you think you will continue doing Death Battle content in the long run, or are you gonna switch it up? Because so many of my subscribers are here because of my Death Battle content, I don't really think I would stop doing it, at least not fully. So if anything, I think I would probably just add more onto the channel instead of replacing stuff. So if I did want to do something else on the channel, I would do it, but I wouldn't do it in place of the Death Battle content, if that makes any sense. Have you noticed that your voice has gotten a lot deeper over the years? Yes, I have noticed. Part of that is because I've gotten older, but another part is because I think I used to start videos off with like, hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Rappter, and I realized that I didn't really have to do that. I didn't have to speak with such a high voice, so I just stopped doing it. So I think it's probably a mix of those two reasons why my voice sounds a lot deeper now. Have you ever played Cuphead, and if so, what are your thoughts? I have never ever played Cuphead, so I don't really have any thoughts, but it does sound like a fun game. If you were to add a Simpsons character in a death battle, who would it be and who would they fight? I am not that into the Simpsons, so I'm not really dying to see any Simpsons character come onto the show, but honestly, I guess if I just had to pick one, I would say Homer Simpson and have him fight Peter Griffin. That's like the big Simpsons fight I see people talking about, and it's the only one I would be super hyped for, so I would say that one. How do you decide who, when, and why matchups? There are a number of factors that go into it, including how good I think the fight is, how well I think I know the characters, how well I think I could do the fight, how popular the fight is or how highly requested it is for who, when, and why, etc, etc, a bunch of different things. The fact of the matter is I'm not going to be able to do every single fight amazingly well, so I have to know the characters, but I also have to think that the idea is good and for it to be worth doing. How was your day? So far my day's been pretty good. I woke up late, I ate lunch, and now I'm filming this, and I'll be filming this probably until midnight tonight because goddamn there are so many questions in this thing. What is your goal with your YouTube channel? My goal for this channel is just to have fun, to make the best videos I can possibly make, and maybe pick up some viewers along the way. That's really all I could ask for. What 3 ideas would you want to send into Death Battle? If we're excluding fights that are already confirmed to happen, then I would say Stitch versus Rocket Raccoon, Dark Willow versus White Violin, and Hiccup and Toothless versus Hero and Baymax. What, in your opinion, is the strongest fictional verse? I honestly would not be able to say. I know that the safe answer for me would be DC, but there might be some universes out there that are just more powerful on average. Like, I know that Saint Seiya is really freaking strong, but I don't know if it'd be more strong than DC on average. It's really hard to say, so I don't know. That's really just my answer. Are you dead, and was every video that gets uploaded just pre-recorded before your death? Yes, that is 100% true, and that is also why I am not as active on Discord anymore. Because I'm dead. What is your opinion on YouTube and versus debates? That's a bit of a weird topic for me. Like, I'm not inherently against those kinds of debates, but at the same time, they are really not something that interests me. So it's fine if you guys are into those kinds of things, they're just really not up my alley. Are you the son of Zemo? You're damn right I am. What is your favorite death battle? Honestly, this changes all the time. Sometimes it's Wolverine versus Raiden, sometimes it's Naruto versus Ichigo, sometimes it's something completely different. So I have a lot of favorite death battles. I don't really have one that I stick with the whole time. What is your favorite food? My favorite food is a 3-way tie between pizza, lasagna, and chicken wings. I really can't choose between those 3. I just love all of them so much. What is your opinion on ice cream sandwiches? I am very pro ice cream sandwiches. And I could really go for one right now. What is your go-to breakfast? Honestly, nothing, because I don't eat breakfast anymore. But when I do eat breakfast, having pancakes is pretty nice. If you had one of the 7 Chaos Emeralds, which color would you want? I would take the green one, because green is the best color, and I refuse to believe otherwise. Besides your brother, does the rest of your family know about your YouTube channel? And if so, what do they think about it? Yes, my whole family does know about my channel. They're not really into the whole versus debating stuff, but they do acknowledge that my channel exists, and they know that it's something that I really like to do. How are you enjoying your Discord servers so far? I am personally enjoying it a lot. There are a lot of discussions that happen on the server, and it's really fun when things get silly. The inside jokes and the art involving me, though, is a bit weird. How PogChamp are you? Yeah, not too much, but enough. Who would win, the Rappter versus Yoshi? Please don't do this. We already lost Mario this year. We don't need to lose Yoshi too. Is your brother cringe? Not too much, but enough. Did you send a request for Galactus vs Unicron to the Death Battle crew? Yes, technically I did, however it's already been confirmed, so it's not really going to change anything. They're going to get to it when they get to it. What did you think of Justin Bieber versus Rebecca Black? Well, it was definitely an interesting idea, not to say it was the greatest thing in the world, because it's definitely not, but it was cool that they tried something so different at such an early age, so I can respect them for that. Who should King K. Rool fight if he got on Death Battle? I would probably say Blackbeard from One Piece. If not him, then maybe King Dedede from Kirby, but I think I would prefer Blackbeard. Who should Elsa fight if she got on Death Battle? The best opponent I can think of right now is Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians, but who knows, maybe there's actually a character that has better connections with Elsa. I'm not really sure, but that's what I'll say for right now. Who should Scorpion fight if he returned to Death Battle? The only opponents I can think of for Scorpion right now are Cinder and Ghost Rider, and both of them have their issues, so I'm not really sure. It would definitely be hard to bring Scorpion back. Kevin E11 versus Absorbing Man. I'm not sure if Kevin has anything that would counter the Hulk scaling that Absorbing Man would get. If he does have something to counter it, then I guess I would go with Kevin, but if not, I would probably go with Absorbing Man unless I'm missing something big. What would the name of the track be for that fight? I couldn't really come up with a track title that I was super pleased with, but I do have some ideas. Of course, there's the obvious Absorbing Men. I was also maybe thinking Crushing up to 11, because you have Crusher Creel, who is Absorbing Man, and up to 11, the whole Kevin 11 thing. I don't know, it's a bit stupid, but I just came up with it. I also came up with They've Got the Touch, since they touch to absorb things. I don't know, I was thinking about this for a very long time, and I couldn't think of anything that I really liked, but those are my ideas that I have right now. Would you like to see Majin Buu return to Death Battle? Honestly, I don't really think it's necessary to bring him back. I can't really think of a great opponent for him, and I think he had a really good fight against Kirby. So honestly, I would say no, but if you want to see him come back, that's perfectly fine. Sub-Zero versus Esdeath. Based on my understanding, I want to say that Esdeath is just a lot more powerful than Sub-Zero. I could be wrong, but those are my thoughts. If Terminator and RoboCop came back to Death Battle, who would they fight? They might do Terminator versus Predator. I've heard that one thrown around a bit before. And for RoboCop, I'm not really sure. I can't really think of a good opponent, or at least one that I would be super happy with. They might do RoboCop versus Judge Dredd. I'm not sure if I'd be super happy with that, but who knows, that might be the fight they end up doing if they bring RoboCop back. If Death Battle were to use Pikachu again, who would you want him to fight? The two main opponents I hear for Pikachu nowadays are Agumon, like just Agumon, not any of the evolutions, and that one dude from Yokai Watch, who I can't remember the name of right now. I don't really know which one I would prefer, but I'd be fine with either of those if Pikachu came back. Do you consider Loki from the movies to be a Disney villain? By definition, yes, you could call him a Disney villain, but that is not what I typically consider him. When I think of Loki, I don't think, oh, that's a Disney villain. I think that's a Marvel villain. But yes, technically, you could call him a Disney villain. If you had an OC like Wiz and Boomstick, what would he be like? I think it would be really cool to have a host who is like fanboying over all of the combatants that come onto the show. So a combatant gets introduced and they're like, oh my god, I'm so excited this character can do this and has this and is this, etc., etc. And that's how some of their traits and abilities get explained. I think that'd be really cool. I think that would work well as a host kind of character, but that's just my opinion. If Godzilla returned to Death Battle, who do you think he could fight? They would probably have Godzilla fight King Kong just because of the popularity alone. Godzilla might have better opponents. In fact, I would say he probably does have better opponents than King Kong, but I think that probably they would have him fight Kong if he came back. Doctor Doom versus Juggernaut. This honestly probably just depends on if Doctor Doom can even kill Juggernaut. Like, if he has some magic that can somehow do it, then he might be able to pull it off, but if not, Juggernaut would probably just outlast him. The stamina and immortality of that guy is just insane. What did you think of Godzilla vs. Kong? I thought it was okay. I definitely had a lot of fun watching it. Not to say it was the best movie in the world or the best put together movie in the world, but it was good enough. For what it was trying to do, it was pretty good. Would you rather be in the Avengers or the Justice League? I would say the Avengers. That way I could actually end up in good movies as opposed to The Rappter, Dawn of Justice. Do you prefer cold weather, hot weather, or somewhere in the middle? I typically prefer it to be somewhere in the middle, but if I had to choose between too hot or too cold, I would say too cold. Because unless you're near like a pool or something, it is much harder for me to deal with the heat than it is to deal with the cold. I could just put on more layers and I would be fine. So that's what I would say. Gamora and Nebula versus Katana and Melina. I have to imagine that the scaling for Gamora and Nebula is much higher than anything that Katana or Melina could get to, but that's just my opinion. Have you watched Rocky? Yes, I have watched all of the Rocky movies and all of the Creed movies. There are certainly some that are better than others, but in general, it's a very enjoyable series. What did you think about The Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Overall, it was a pretty darn good show. I wouldn't say that I loved it. I'm not even sure that I would say that I liked it more than WandaVision. I'm not really sure which one I like more, but I still really liked it. When do you think Iron Patriot is coming back? I don't think War Machine is going to go back to being Iron Patriot in the MCU, but they could actually introduce Norman Osborn as Iron Patriot in the MCU. We don't really know what they're going to do with Norman Osborn, but that is definitely a possibility. But if they were to do that, I have no idea when they would. Do you think the MCU will bring in the Thunderbolts? I don't want to give out too many spoilers because some people are not caught up with the MCU, but based on recent MCU material, yes, I do think that is probably the direction that they're headed. Do you think 1010 deserved more screen time in Naruto? Honestly, 1010 was never a character that I really cared too much about, so that didn't really bother me, but I can definitely understand that perspective, so yeah, there you go. Do you prefer Crunchyroll or Funimation? I'm not really associated with either of them, so I'll just say Crunchyroll because they have sponsored some YouTubers that I like. That's really it. Homelander versus Omni-Man. I think Omni-Man probably has better feats and scaling when you look at the respective comics, but I don't know. I don't know too much about either of the characters right now, so I might want to do more research on that. Kisame versus Shark Boy. I have actually never watched anything with Shark Boy in it, so I would not be able to tell you, but I'll say Kisame anyway because I'm biased. Lord Dante versus Pain. I'm personally not that familiar with Black Clover, but I have heard that a lot of characters in that universe are really strong, so I might want to lean more towards Lord Dante, but again, I'd want to do more research before I gave a definitive answer. Have you watched Code Geass? No, I have not, and I really don't know that much about it either, but if you like it, then that's great. What are your thoughts on Boros versus Deoxys? I don't know if this is a popular fight, but this is one of the first times that I'm hearing about it. I don't know that much about the character, so I would want to do more research to make a real judgment on whether or not I like it, but it sounds cool enough. Have you ever played Danganronpa? No, I haven't. I feel so bad. I feel like I've been missing out on so many things. Like I haven't watched this, I haven't played that, I haven't done anything with my life. So yeah, no, I just haven't played it. Would you rather see Gogeta or Z Broly on Death Battle, and who would they fight? I would prefer to see Gogeta because we already had a Broly in one of the episodes, but I'm not really sure who he would fight. Maybe Composite Superman, but I don't really like that idea too much. And sure, maybe Gogeta has better opponents, I just can't really think of them right now. Do you prefer Lizard versus Man-Bat over their other opponents? I feel like Morbius actually works better for Man-Bat because Morbius has the same connections with Man-Bat that Lizard does essentially, and they're also both Bat characters, so I think that actually works better. For Lizard though, I could see him fighting both Man-Bat and Killer Croc. I'm not really sure which one I prefer more. I think that Lizard and Man-Bat have smarter connections, but you know, Lizard versus Killer Croc is also really popular. But in general, I think that Man-Bat versus Morbius works really well, but I think that all the fights work fine enough. All Might versus Boros. Boros's most powerful attack should be around planet level, if not even higher, which I think is probably more than enough to take out All Might. That's just my opinion, but yeah, there you go. Would you prefer to be able to see 360 degrees around you, or to be able to see 360 seconds into the future? I mean, both of them have the potential to save my ass from really bad things, so I guess it's really just a matter of personal preference. I guess I would choose seeing into the future because I'd really like to know what's going to happen. I get really bad anxiety when I don't know what's going to happen and I'm really nervous about things, so I would prefer to see how things are going to turn out in the future if left untouched, etc, etc, so I would go with that. What is more disturbing in Death Battle, having a non-violent character brutally killing or having a non-violent character getting brutally killed? At least for me, it is much harder to accept a non-violent character getting murdered. It's hard to accept both of them, but I think I would probably be scarred more by having them murdered than having them murder someone. Again, both are bad, but that's just my opinion. Do you like My Hero Academia? From what I know about it, I do really like it. I haven't watched or read a huge amount of it in general, but I still really like it. I think it's a really cool concept. So yeah, I do like it. Shigaraki versus Palpatine. I have to imagine that when you incorporate legends, Palpatine is just way too powerful. I could be wrong, but that's what I think right now. Ego versus Mogo. This is another one that I would absolutely love to do more research on. Right now, I want to say Mogo just because the Green Lanterns are ridiculously strong, but I know that Ego is also incredibly strong. He's done some pretty impressive things. So I don't know, but I want to say Mogo for right now. Koro Sensei versus Monokuma. I don't know those characters very well, but I think it's generally accepted that Koro Sensei wins that one, so I'll just say him. Alex Mercer versus Krona. It might depend on the kind of defenses that Alex Mercer has, because I think that Krona is very fast and has very strong abilities, and I think that they have the potential to put down Alex, but if Alex has really strong defenses and can just keep, you know, like regenerating and can keep coming back from anything that Krona throws at him, then Alex might win that one. So maybe Krona, but maybe Alex, I'm not really sure. answer. Ryuko versus Krona. This one is really hard for me to judge because I think that Ryuko should have strength and durability, but I think that Krona should have speed and abilities. So it's kind of a toss-up. I feel like either one could win. It's just a matter of what you think is more important in a fight and who you think could get the kill shot first. I might want to lean slightly more towards Krona, but I'm really not sure. It's a really good fight. What's your favorite Pokemon type? I would go with water, but only because of my history with it. I basically always choose water as my starter Pokemon for whatever game I'm playing, so for that reason alone I would say water. Iron Fist versus Poe. This was actually asked before the death battle was announced, believe it or not. I do have a prediction video on this, so you can go check it out if you want more information, but right now I say Poe. Could Filthy Frank defeat Goku Black in a fight? Well, it kind of depends on a few things. No, I'm kidding. Of course he could. Tucker versus Scout. Right now I think Tucker. I think he's got more going for him in more areas, but if you feel differently, that's fine. Have you heard of the acid trip known as Cell Versus made by Devil Artemis? Have I heard of it? I think so. Have I seen it before? No. Maybe I have to now. What are your 5 most wanted DC versus non-Marvel matchups? I would probably say Doomsday versus SCP-682, Simon versus Kyle, Superboy versus Invincible, Goku Black versus Reverse Flash, and of course, Riddler versus Super Y. What do you think of Luffy versus Naruto? I understand why some people don't really like this fight that much, and if I'm being honest, I don't really think it's the greatest fight in the world either, but I don't mind it at all. I think it's a perfectly fine fight. If Death Battle ever did it, I would probably be pretty excited for it. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I think it's okay. Who could Jar Jar Binks fight in Death Battle? I think Caboose could work pretty well as an opponent for Jar Jar. If I thought long enough, I could probably think of someone just as good or maybe even better, but right now I'll say Caboose. Are there any fictional universes that you're thinking of diving into? I'm thinking about maybe getting into Red vs. Blue. I know there's a lot of material now, but it sounds like a really fun show. I might want to try it. Also The Boys as well. I haven't gotten into The Boys, but I think I may want to try it at some point, whether it's the comic or the show. It seems really cool. Is there a joke fight that you would like to see become a Death Battle? Right now, Riddler versus Super Y, because that is the best fight in the world and everyone in the Raptorverse knows it. How come Death Battle hasn't used a lot of novel characters? It's likely because novel characters lack a lot of entertaining or interesting visual material. I would still like to see Death Battle do it at some point or attempt something with more novel characters, but I don't know. They usually do novel characters that have movies because they have more visual elements, but I don't know. I'd like to see them dive more into just novel characters. I don't know if it'll ever happen though. Ant-Man versus Atom. I'm gonna be controversial and go with Atom, even though I know there are a bunch of people that are gonna disagree with me on that, and that's perfectly fine. Do you think we'll ever get a Saitama Death Battle? Eventually, yes, I think we will. I can't say for sure who he's gonna fight, but I do think eventually he will come on the show. Did you know that a DC character has never lost a death battle to a non-Marvel character? Yes, I did know that, and while I do love DC, I will admit that it would be nice to see that change at some point later down the line. How do you feel about Ant-Man vs. Atom being deconfirmed for Season 8? Well, for one thing, it was a big Marvel vs. DC fight I was looking forward to, so it really bums me out that it's not coming yet, but it also just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, it has so much history behind it, it's a huge legacy matchup. I don't understand why they would do something like Lex Luthor versus Doctor Doom over it. Like, I know that that one also has history, but a lot more people want Ant-Man versus Atom, so I don't know. I guess it just is what it is. Are there any anime series that you're interested in watching in the future? The 3 big ones I can think of right now are Elfen Lied, Berserk, and Fairy Tail. I'm not sure if I will ever get to watching those, but I would be interested in them if I got the chance. I don't really have a third question. I just wanted to say that I love the content and I wish you all the luck in the future. Thank you so much for the kind words, man. It means a lot to me. And also thank you so much for leaving questions for the Q&A. I really appreciate it. Deku versus the Sam Alexander Nova. Right now, I would probably say that Sam would beat Deku. However, if Deku isn't already more powerful than Sam, I wouldn't be surprised if he did eventually surpass him. What anime do you want to see in Death Battle? It would probably either be Saint Seiya or Tokyo Ghoul. I think both of those animes are pretty cool from what I've heard of them, and I would love to see them represented on the show. What video game character do you want to see in Smash Bros? I would want to see Dante from Devil May Cry come to the game. I think they could give him a really awesome moveset, a really unique moveset, and I think it would just be super fun to play. So yeah, I would say him. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy versus Bugs, Daffy, and Porky. Characters with Toon Force is always so weird. I want to lean more towards the Looney Tunes characters, but I would not be surprised at all if someone could make the argument the other way. How do you feel about Gumball versus SpongeBob as a death battle? I think that fight could work well enough. I know some people who really like it and some people who really don't like it. I'm pretty impartial on it, so if it happened, that'd be okay. Do you think that Sly Cooper versus Ruse the Bat could become a real death battle? Honestly, yeah, I do. It seems like it's requesting a fair amount, so I think that if they wanted to do it, yeah, I don't see why they couldn't do it. Have you watched My Little Pony? No, I have not. All my information for My Little Pony comes from either my friends or from Death Battle, and that's about it. Who is your favorite pony you've seen from Death Battle? I would say Rainbow Dash, but only because I really like the speedster characters from different universes. I really don't have any more reasoning than that. What do you think about Bill Cipher versus Discord as a matchup? That definitely sounds like a fun fight, and I'm pretty sure that Death Battle is going to do it at some point because of how highly requested it is. I don't know that much about Discord. I don't really know that much about Bill Cipher either, but I'd still be pretty hyped if it became a real death battle. Garfield versus Heathcliff. I would say Heathcliff just for physical superiority, but maybe I'm missing something that actually puts it in Garfield's favor. I don't really know. Who would Princess Celestia fight in a death battle? The main name that I keep hearing thrown around right now is Amaterasu from Okami. I don't really know that much about him, and I don't know that much about Princess Celestia either, but it sounds like it could be a fun fight, maybe. I don't know. Which race is stronger, Alicorns, Saiyans, or Kryptonians? I would go with Kryptonians. They're all strong in their own ways, but I think that Kryptonians are probably the best in terms of overall power, so I would say them. What video game sword would you want? Link's Master Sword or Cloud's Buster Sword? I would choose the Master Sword just so I would be able to pick it up. Like, have you seen that Buster Sword? Holy crap, there's no way I'm lifting that thing. Also, I'd be able to do some cool things with the Master Sword, so that's pretty cool. Who would win, Fusion Goku and Superman versus Fusion Hulk and Broly? Well, Superman is more powerful than Hulk, but Broly is more powerful than Goku, so it's a bit of a toss-up to see which fusion would be more powerful. But I think that the fusion between Superman and Goku would allow for more powers, like would just allow for a wider array of powers, so I'm just gonna say they win for that reason alone. I know it's not a great reason, but that's what I'll say. Would you ever check out Mr. Nightmare Horror Stories? I have never checked them out before, but you know what, thank you for the recommendation, I might just check them out later. Can you show us how to scratch it? I think you can figure that out for yourself. I believe in you. Would you ever like to smell Wario's bike seat? Jesus Christ, what is with you guys today? No? Is that the right answer? That's my answer, I don't want to, thank you. It's either Nightcrawler, Beast Boy, or Spider-Man, and please don't ask me to choose one of those three because they're all my favorites. I love them all so much, I really can't choose between them, but it is those three, Nightcrawler, Beast Boy, and Spider-Man. King versus Incineroar. My gut is telling me that Incineroar wins that one, but I might be missing something for King. I might want to do more research on that, but for right now, I'll say Incineroar. Scarlet Witch versus Raven. If we're looking at these characters at their maximum potential, then I definitely think that Scarlet Witch would win. That's not to say that there aren't some circumstances where Raven couldn't win, but I think that in general, it's more reliable to go with Scarlet Witch. Cly from Despicable Me versus Reflectdoll from Miraculous. I have not seen the Despicable Me movies in a very long time, so I can't really say for sure. Right now I want to say Reflectdoll, but I could be getting that wrong. I might want to do more research on that. Eagle from Miraculous versus Hawks from My Hero Academia. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure that Hawks has too many amazing feats right now. I think he might get better later as the show progresses, but in general, I think that Eagle might win just thanks to Miraculous scaling. I could be wrong, but that's what I'll say for right now. Which akumatized villain from Miraculous would you like to see in Death Battle? I would probably say Stoneheart just because I think he would work the best in terms of an actual up-close fist fight. Not to say that other villains couldn't work, but he's probably the one that I would want the most. What is your favorite episode from the Linksy series that you've seen? I would probably say Season 7, Episode 6, Man Up, which was the first episode that Red Lightning appeared in. It was just so cool to introduce the awesome character, and I think that in general the episode's just really good, so I would say that one. Who are your top 10 favorite characters from the Teen Titans show? Going from 10 to 1, I would probably say Terra, Kid Flash, Red X, Starfire, Brother Blood, Slade, Cyborg, Robin, Raven, and Beast Boy. Do you believe that it would be better if there was no currency system in the world? Doing something like that immediately, or in general for that matter, I feel would be extremely difficult, if not fully impossible to be able to pull off correctly. Not to say that we shouldn't do anything about it, or that the situation we have right now is perfect, because I don't think it is perfect, but I don't think that the solution would be to just get rid of currency altogether. I think there are better ways to deal with it. And that brings us to the end of the Q&A. Guys, thank you all so much for watching this ridiculously long video. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, probably super long, but regardless, if you enjoyed this video, please give this video a like, comment your comments down below, subscribe if you could too, that would be amazing. But no matter what you guys do, thank you all so much for watching, I really do appreciate it. And yeah, that's it for me. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.